They believed that spirits and magic were all around them, and the gods were dominant. They would be considered completely crazy by today's standards. However, this was not a uniform religion, and their practices and beliefs varied from settlement to settlement. It revolved around nature worship, but also encompassed strength and survival. Much like Celtic paganism, the religious worshipping of the Germanic tribes is hard to research. We again know that they used groves and forests as their temples, but now know the given reason. They thought that containing their gods in man-made structures was unworthy. There were also many standing stones, more in Scandinavia than in the south, but it seems that the Celts and the Germanic tribes were quite similar in many ways. It was a polytheistic religion, having many gods, some long forgotten. But these gods were not human-looking. Instead, they took on the shape of nature, mostly trees or animals. Sadly, these trees they worshipped were destroyed by later Christians or simply forgotten, but it reminds me of how the Navi and Avatar viewed their god tree. They also believed in the concept of a world tree. This is well known in later Norse paganism, however it may have originated much earlier on. Also known as the Tree of Life, this tree connects the spiritual worlds and the mortal world together. Known as Yggdrasil in Norse paganism, the gods used to hold their own hustings here, and its branches used to reach far off into the heavens. They worshipped Woden the most, and in some cases even sacrificed humans to him. Dona was also a common favourite, who they connected with animal life. The Germanic deities also changed names throughout the generations, and as the peoples migrated further to the north into Scandinavia. For example, Woden became Odin, and Dona became Thor. But these were still very much the same gods. Similar to their language, over time the Germanic pantheon split depending on the region. This just shows how disconnected these peoples were and how the cultures shifted over time. Human sacrifice and ritual slaughter were permitted. Known as blots, these festivals were blood sacrifices dedicated to certain gods and were most seen in Norse paganism and Anglo-Saxon paganism. Germanic priests would read divinations from runes, flight patterns of birds, and the behaviour of sacred white horses that were never ridden by humans. I may do another video on Germanic paganism, however pagan priests and seeresses are a necessity to understanding Germanic culture. These religious leaders acted as healers, fortune tellers, midwives, and could talk to many Germanic gods. The seeress was a female Germanic priest who could see into the future. They performed a variety of rituals to do this, such as reading runes, blood trails, bones, feathers, and even poo. Women would rise high in Germanic paganism and would wield much power, acting sort of like politicians and diplomats. A long-standing form of this paganism are Germanic runes and the runic alphabet. Notice how the letters here are made from straight lines, as to be easily carved into wood or bone. Not everything around these letters were religious, however. They were also just used as writing. For example, combs have been found with the owners' or makers' names carved into them. Another recurring motif was the wild hunt, where spirits and gods would go on a hunt in our mortal world and would kill everything they came across. These hunts were often led by Odin, who had his own ghostly warrior crew. The wild hunt shows how embedded hunting and being a warrior was, even in their religion. It also shows how prevalent and important storytelling was, as the concept of the wild hunt lasted even after Christianization. Even the afterlife revolved around warrior deeds, meritocracy and duty, as proven by Valhalla. Valhalla was a heaven where those who died honourably in combat fought along with other legendary Germanic heroes and kings as a form of army training until Ragnarok, when they would all march out together to fight in aid of Odin. These many Germanic beliefs lay the foundation for what we know today as European and British folklore. For example, elves and dwarves would also make their appearance through Germanic paganism, and would be wildly popularised through the works of Tolkien. Be sure to check out my other channel, History Sticks, for the complete, longer and comprehensive video.